Shalom, my precious brothers, sisters in faith. Today I will share my study about King Hezekiah in a relationship with King Assyria, Sennacherib, and King Babylon. And Lord reflected me the relationship between Israel and Saudi Arabia at the moment. And before that, this week, I met a couple of friends. Also, I met my neighbor, and I shared my testimony yesterday. And when I heard her broken relationship after 13 years of relationship, now she become a single mom with one daughter. And she's been single for the last 3.5 years. And she says she's not interested in any date or any other relationship at the moment because through her bad relationship. And I do remember when I read one of the book of Revelation of Heaven, and she just spoke to this prophet at the end of church age. There will be many broken families. There will be many divorces. Because the reason how I understood that moment, people are losing love for each other because if we are far from our Christ, if we are far from our source of love, our God, we are close to the darkness, so that people are running out of love for each other, running out of patience and sacrifice each other. That's why I believe the world, the culture, drama and film promotes romantic love, and they illustrated having affair like in a romantic way, so that they faded our conscience, our conscience about the morality and true meaning of marriage. And so that the romantic love, through my study of Adam and Eve and God's history, the romantic love is not existing. That's not the real God's blessing. Because Jesus spoke to Pharisees and Sadducees saying, there's no marriage in heaven, and we will be like angels. We are all singles in God's kingdom. But why we have marriage system on earth? This is my understanding of God's mystery. I believe that's for a multiplying. God ordered Adam and Eve, God ordered Noah, multiply and feed on this earth with your descendants. Because that's the way God can harvest His children among them. So that it's multiplying, it's blessing. Animals and food, everything are multiplying. And that's why generation to generation we serve God. God sent His harvest workers for them, for His kingdom. But romantic love is God's blessing, is God blessed, marriage bad. But the feeling of romantic doesn't last more than a year or 2 years. In the end, the marriage, God established the marriage as a partnership. So women, the true meaning of woman in Hebrew is a helper. So women are helpers to help the men who are serving God, who are building family church. Man is minister priest for his family, and women are partner helping that ministry. If men went astray, women have to go and help. And that's the true meaning of marriage. That's my understanding. It's not about men and women, their law, their personal law. So all those personal law, personal relationship will be fading away when we die, when we are in heaven. And that understanding helped me to overcome my sadness, my sorrow for my family. And I realized without that small sacrifice, I left my family, I left my country for His calling, because I prayed for England when I was at the age 21, and God sent me here within 40 years' time. And my rich friend, I met her at my school, in middle school, or in high school, first year. And then we didn't have friendship at all. And then within 14 years' time, she suddenly appeared when I joined one of Korean church when I was in my 20s. And she suddenly appeared to my life, and her background, quite rich, very rich family. And she came to London to study. And then she invited me because she got a spare bedroom. Without her help, I don't have any plan and expectation, because I grew up in normal, average family, and my parents, they cannot afford to pay for my study in England. So that she gave me the cheap accommodation, and her invitation helped me to come over here. So that in the end, God have a plan, and through your prayer, you ask the Lord sincerely, or sometimes with just passion, but God heard, and you have to complete, you have to fulfill your prayer. You committed. I committed. Lord, send me, like Isaiah, send me to England, and I will set a fire on their churches. And I have to obey. I have to fulfill my vow to God. So that I left my country, I left my family, and that is for me little sacrifice. And Romans chapter 12, St. Paul said, we are living sacrifice. Our life itself, little sacrifice. If you are single for the Lord, being single itself, living sacrifice. Through our little sacrifice, Satan cannot accuse us when God blessed us. Through our little sacrifice, we please God, and we have this precious relationship with the Lord, because He sacrificed His life for us, so that He knows we will follow His path, so that we are called as a disciple when we follow His path, so that many, or even among us, if you are lonely in your marriage, in your relationship, that will be worse than being alone, being lonely alone. So that if you are lonely in your relationship, in your marriage, you are called. You have to make commitment with the Lord and spend time with Him every evening. Even if you have a day job, but you have an evening, if you spend time with the Lord every evening, scriptures by scriptures, you will build amazing church in your heart, in your room, in your small room. And that room will be your palace. And I realized when I lost my business, I have to move out from my luxury apartment. I have to sell my my sofa, I have to sell my dining table because I don't have a room for all my previous furniture. And I realized I don't have time to sit down on that sofa. I do remember. Even if I had that sofa during my study, I hardly used that sofa apart from time with visitors. So their life become quite simple when we spend time with the Lord every evening, and you spend time at least one evening. You have to spend time one evening, at least one evening per week with your partner, so that you can keep your relationship with them. But if you want to be a disciple, you have to spend every evening with your Lord. I know God blessed your marriage, God blessed your relationship, but if you spend time with your partner every evening, every weekend, you don't have enough time with the Lord. God cannot use you greatly. And we are in this generation, we are chosen for in this generation, one of the amazing generation to generation. Enoch saw all those future. He saw the time of Noah. He saw David, Solomon's about the temple. He saw Babylon's invasion. He saw Christ, time of the Christ. And he saw 16th century of revolution from Catholic. And then he saw about this time of God's trumpet. And he saw saints here in this generation preaching last gospel at the end of church age. I believe the last gospel, it's about the love, deeper relationship with the Lord. The last gospel for me is the secret love to the Lord, that deeper relationship between bridegroom and bride, the secret love in their chamber, in their honeymoon chamber, that deeper relationship. That's the, I believe, last gospel. Of course, we have to proclaim God is coming, God's judgment. But who could be perfect when he returns? Who could be blameless like Noah? God spoke to Noah, you are blameless in my sight. You are perfect. And Noah was walking faithfully with the Lord. But how we can be righteous and perfect in his sight? Only through and by Christ, his grace and his sacrifice. But we proclaim, but we are faithful, even if we are not perfect, we are not blameless, we are not holy enough, but we are faithful, so that Satan, you walk away from my sheep, my work colleague, our church, our family church, walk away, and God is building this family church, this local church, this community church. He is building through you, through me, by the Lord. Get out from it. So I saw many spiritual battle. Spiritual battle is every day. So that I don't have that. If I have good sleep without waking up early morning, I had good sleep. My body is happy. But when I open the mobile phone, when I see the text message or email, I felt it. And several ships are in sickness, and like when I see something bad going on, and I feel failure. But we are faithful. I am faithful, even if I wasn't perfect enough. I couldn't get up for a prayer early morning. But because we are faithful, we seek the Lord consistently. When you have consistency for study and prayer, it reveal us we are faithful. Otherwise, we don't have that consistency over prayer and study. And through my Bible study with our girl last week, I shared this: first become last, last become first. Jesus used this word 3 times within Gospel, 2 times in Matthew, and then 1 time in Luke chapter 13. So when you see it, Matthew chapter 19, Jesus spoke to the rich man, young rich man, and he committed himself to the law of Moses. So he was righteous. But Jesus said, if you want to be perfect, give all your belongings, give all your money to the poor and follow me. That's the condition to be a disciple. That's the condition. But if we can't do that, we can follow Christ. But if you want to be leader, mean who sacrifice, who lay down their life for the sheep, that's the shepherd, that's the leader. And if you want to be shepherd, if you want to be disciple, you have to give up your life on earth, your wealth, your money. And that challenged me all the time. And Jesus said, but he can't give up. He walked away. And Peter said, then Lord, who can be saved? That's really hard teaching. And Jesus said, it's impossible in human's eye, but God make it impossible possible. God can do it. Then Jesus said, first become last, last become first. In the same situation, Jesus used this word in the parable of vineyard. The last person Jesus hired only for 1 hour, but God, the owner, gave same daily wage. Even if someone came early morning, 9 o'clock, and this last group came only 1 hour before, but God gave them same wage. And it's just used first become last, last become first. And then Luke chapter 13, Jesus used another parable for narrow door. And just said, even if you call me Lord and Lord, but just say, I don't know you, who you are, where are you from? And just said, in that day, people from east, west, and north, they will take your places in God's kingdom. So in Jesus' time, the first is Jewish leaders and teachers of the Moses law. They become last. They missed chance to know God, to know Son of God. But those humble people, they are not well educated. Those humble people, Galileans, they recognize, they accept Christ. Those people, poor people, the sick, the poor, the vulnerable, the broken people in this generation as well, gospel proclaim to the poor, exactly Isaiah spoke and Jesus used exactly. God anointed him, Isaiah, and our Lord, God anointed him, and he proclaimed the gospel to the poor, to the broken families, the broken women, singles, and the lonely people, the sick in this generation as well, because they need healing, they need comfort, so that who are first in this generation, who are comfortable, they are first, who become comfortable, who become who love humans, the people's praising, who love people's praising more than pleasing God. Who are the first? Sorry. So that we please God, we don't please people. So when we please God, we will receive stone. People will stone us, and you will lose reputation from people, and you will lose maybe your congregations. You lose people, but that's the way. Jesus said you will receive your reward. Your ancestors also went same path. So that Jesus said, be careful when people talking about you very well. That means when people praise you, be careful. You may fall from it. So that we pray the last become first always apply into our journey, so that we stick to the new beginners. We stick to the sinner who just return from their life. We help them, we raise those fresh Christian who just repented, turn around, so that we apply this message in this generation too, so that we all make terrible mistake, first become last. And then I received this message from, I was listening many sermons during my work, and when I heard this message, I go, wow, about Solomon. And she received the message about Antichrist when she was in heaven. It's about her heaven testimony. And she said she heard this message about Solomon, chapter 2 Chronicles, chapter 9, verse 13. Solomon's splendor. The weight of the gold that Solomon received yearly was 666 talents. 1 talent is, I think 1 talent is a year wage. It's quite huge money. And he received yearly 666, not just 1 year talent, 1 year wage, 666 times. And the Antichrist will rise up in Israel who copy Solomon, someone like Solomon, like Solomon's his wealth, someone very wealthy, and Israel still looking for their Messiah who can save them, who can secure them from the enemy of Iran and Iran's kind of his alliance. So who can save Israel? So the Israel make this peace deal, peace treaty, trade with Solomon, with Saudi Arabia, and then Lord showed me through my study. He just put me hard to read Kings, so that I've been reading Kings last week, this week, and then Hezekiah, he cleansed the temple, and he restored the feast of Passover, and he invited even the remnant from Israel, because this is the time about BC 700, which means the North Israel already has been fallen by Assyria. So the king Assyria, what's his name? Sennacherib already conquered North Israel. And then he trying to deceive the Judea, the people in Judea, saying, do not listen to your king Hezekiah, and you will lose your security if you obey me, and I will give you security. And he trying to deceive the people under King Hezekiah. And Hezekiah made amazing revolution, and he restored all those Passover. He celebrated Passover with huge amount of sacrifice of animals, and he said it was they never celebrated Passover in this measure, in this volume, since Solomon. And he removed one of the high places, the idol worship places, and all those famous kings, good king, including Jehoshaphat, they cleansed temple, they restored all those feast of Passover. But even Jehoshaphat, he couldn't get rid of high places, but Hezekiah, he did it. So he did massive, amazing work for our God. But when he become proud what he done, and God can see his pride is growing, and God put him in the test. Second Chronicles chapter 32, verse 31. But when envoys were sent by the rulers of Babylon to ask him about the miraculous sign that had occurred in the land, God left him, Hezekiah, to test him. God left this envoy. This envoy is son of Babylon king. You see now, the crown prince is a son of king. So he made trade peace treaty with Israel. So this envoy, son of Babylon king, he came with gift, and he want to make peace with King Hezekiah, because Babylon also under threat from Assyria. So he need that alliance with Hezekiah, because Hezekiah, they saw the miracle happen to Hezekiah, because he won the battle against Assyria, because God answered, because Hezekiah prayed, and Isaiah was with Hezekiah, and Micah also was with Hezekiah. So Hezekiah was blessed because he wasn't alone. God sent prophets, Isaiah and Micah. And when he received this envoy gift from Babylon, he showed him his treasure. He shouldn't show that his treasure, but he wanted to reveal. He wanted to show up what he got, what he has. And then later on, Isaiah said, because you show your treasure, because you show what you have, that's our strength, that's our secret, that's your blessing. You never show to your enemy. That blessing or that secret, that's your gift you receive from the Lord. You shouldn't show to your left hand. And Jesus said, when you do good thing, do not tell your left hand. Do something without notice from the left hand. That's what I understand. Do something. God gave you secret blessing and secret message, and that gift you have to hide. But once you reveal to your enemy, the Isaiah said, because of that reason you show your treasure, the Babylon will invade the temple because they saw the huge gold and silver in that temple. And that's the prophecies. Like that way, Israel won that strong support against Iran. But once Israel deliver the skill of nuclear weapon, once they share what they have, then you thought Saudi Arabia will support Israel and will be friends against Iran, but it could be future. They are raising a future, another enemy through Israel's history. So it could be the one Daniel saw 7 years of peace treaty, because we are watching the signs, what Jesus talked about, written in Matthew chapter 24. When you see denomination cause abomination, cause desolation at the temple, which Daniel prophesied, what's the abomination, cause desolation. When you see that, I'm there at the door, so that we have to watch over the sign in the land of Israel. God bless you. Speak again. Bye.